Previously on Monster Care Squad Lost and Found.
There is a mighty, violent, almost blood-curdling sound of bleeding. Goat bleeding. But the bleeding almost sounds like a roar at the same time, almost like a very unsettlingly human scream. Suddenly, just as people are like running and trying to move, maybe not so in the open sort of area for potentially this earthquake that they think is happening, but suddenly a growth of spiky rock and earth just comes up from the ground, not so tall as potentially a pillar, but almost one as tall as Cap, and then some just half the size of Basar. No, they're not so tall or anything like that, but they're beginning to just come from up the ground within this like open area of the Fjordlands. And they keep growing and sort of growing in not necessarily random patterns. They seem to be going into a certain direction, and for whatever reason, thankfully not damaging or touching the train, but going in like almost a direct line and heading towards and going up a specific mountain. And Zeke, I think you would know, on this particular mountainside is home to certain residential areas, especially residential areas just along the mountain. And these new growth spikes are getting a bit too close for comfort, and they're just coming up. They're not quite there at the mountain, but they are all leading sort of in a line to this area.
In a line, you say as in it's about to be a problem for the people living here, or as in it's like
it's going to start to be a problem for the people living in living against the mountainside.
Okay. Ooh. So I'm trying to imagine it. So the spikes are continuous, or like continuous as in like if I stop one, the rest will stop, or continuous as in they're coming from somewhere and going towards something?
They're coming up from the ground and they're remaining there. They're not sinking down or anything like that. So it is messing with the general flow of whatever pathways are happening. Mm-hmm. And they are going toward the mountainside. If that answered your question.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I'm trying to like figure out. So
they're still going. They're like the direction is up the mountain.
Golly gee, I don't know what to do to help. I guess I don't know. Is there people around out in? What can I do? I run. I follow.
Is this normal around here?
No,
Basar is like running alongside, probably like double time because Zeke is very tall and has quite a large, I think, like step. Basar's like trying to keep up. Does this happen often?
No, not at all. And I guess I just run towards. I just follow this pathway of spike.
Something you could try, Zeke, is reach out with your fist. And something that, let's see, you could try Basar. There's got to be something around here, or either of any of your moves that you would like to try for sure, but those in particular will give you some interesting answers.
Alrighty. Reach out with your fist. General. When you use pure strength to smash an inanimate object aside, roll plus force. On a 10 plus, the barrier crumbles beneath your might without complications. On the 7 and 9, you also break something important or valuable or delicate. Tell everyone how you're going to make it right. Oh God. You see, this is the one that I was thinking. I guess so these spikes, well, I guess the same question that I was trying to ask earlier. So you say they're coming out of the ground. So it's like independent spikes?
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's just like 1, 2, 3, 4. It just keeps going like that.
It's so interesting. I'm like, me as CJ is like, how on earth am I going to stop this? But I guess we're going to try it. I'm going to reach out with my fist and I guess attempt to disrupt the flow of this thing, punching as hard as I can into the ground to figure out what on earth is going on. So that's 2d6 plus my
force,
which is a 1. So 2d6 plus 1 for everyone listening at home.
While Zeke is doing that, I think Basar is going to start looking around the area, trying to see, is there anything that they could maybe put in? You said that the spikes are going in a line, right? Is there anything that they could put where we can estimate the next spike might show up to try and like block it and like keep it underground?
Absolutely.
All right. So I'm going to use the move. There's got to be something around here. When you're scavenging the area, look for anything you can. Roll plus grit. And I will let you know what happens based on my roll.
Awesome. Zeke, what did you get?
Oh, I got a 9.
Okay, so let me say. You also break something important, valuable, or delicate. Okay. Zeke, I think you're just like running, like very much that like military, like just like total like perfect balance on both side sort of run, like, you know, Captain America just kind of thing. And you, with your rippling lumberjack muscles, you feel just by through whatever, following the growth, and this growth does seem to be rhythmic. There seems to be some sort of pattern, and they all seem to be kind of the same diameter, each spike kind of coming up. I think just before one of them is going to grow, as you are figuring it out with just your senses, you just destroy one of the growing ones from the ground. And there does seem to be suddenly some kind of stop to the flow. But one of the new spikes that begin to grow from the ground, potentially from where the next one was supposed to grow, it goes into one of the train's wheels through and punctures that particular side of the train, and then begins to go back into its original pattern. But there does seem to be a different flow to it now. Some of the spikes, there seems to be less regularity and less strength from which they are coming up from the ground. Basar, what did you get?
I rolled a 3.
Okay.
No.
On a 6 or below, you disturb wildlife, and it leads to someone in your group losing 1 supply. Describe what happens. So I think the reason that Basar is not able to find something that is helpful to like blocking the spikes from coming up. One is because Basar doesn't know this area very well. I think they've never been in the Fjordlands before. They've never been in this kind of climate before, so they're unsure even of what they're looking at and what would be right to find. But the second reason is that Zeke managed to disturb the pattern of these spikes. So where Basar thought the next one was going to come up is not where the next one comes up, and it's somewhere else instead. So in that process, I think Basar's just in the wrong place.
Gotcha. Yeah,
Our
totally.
teamwork is lacking.
Gotcha. There is a new sort of rhythmic flow now. Although who was paying attention in particular is totally up to anybody. Again, these spikes, they don't come up as strong, as confident as they once did. They are kind of coming up with more sort of time in between each of the spikes coming up, but they are still going towards this mountain area. I would love to do something that y'all don't necessarily have moves for,
Right.
but let me see. I would love if the both of you give me acuity rolls.
I'm good at that one.
I'm not. Well, I'm not good at it.
I got
Average.
a 13.
13, okay.
Just... Oh, Wow. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
11.
Let's go. I learned this in school.
The first time or the second time?
No comment.
No comment.
I think, Basar, you will see this before Zeke does. And in a way, probably at an unfair advantage, just due to the fact that your eye also, I think, catches onto a certain glamour, a certain glimmer. These spikes that are growing from the ground, there is this faint golden glitter to the outside of them. But you know that maybe if you, however you could turn the effect of the prosthetic eye off to see this specific illusion, the rock just seems like earth, just plain earth, nothing in particular, no kind of ore from underneath the ground that seems to be glittering these spikes in particular. This is something that only you in this moment is able to see. I think, Zeke, also you're beginning to remember that maybe one of the spikes did almost attempt to grow from right under you. However, it went, something that sort of disrupted its flow is almost if these rocks did not want to hurt Zeke in particular. And I think maybe even as someone just is running or is unable to move, or was a little bit late in terms of like who could even by any means find out the flow of these strange growths happening, who could even possibly run away from this. And as it almost seems like someone is about to get impaled by a spike, it stops from its pattern. And then it grows around the person back in this linear sort of fashion. And they're getting slower and less confident as they are attempting to come up again this mountainside. And where it is from the mountainside at this point is close, but they're beginning to slow down. I think that both of you are realizing these spikes cannot hurt people.
I think seeing the golden glittering off of these spikes, Basara is going to run towards where they think the next spike is going to come up. And then also while they're waiting for the spike to come up, because you said it's slower now, so I imagine there's like a moment or like a beat that Basar can take where they're going to try and just like calm themselves down here, sort of let the adrenaline like lower and flow out of their body from this moment and try and see through that golden glimmer, see if it is an illusion or some sort of magical facade in a way. And this is me using my opened hidden eyes ability, which does exactly what I described.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't say to roll anything. So.
No, yeah. As you are situated, you're calculated in your actions, despite maybe anyone kind of thinking, is this person trying to hurt themselves? What is going on? From the glitter of the other rocks, of the other sharp growths, we'll call them, the faint sort of gold flaky leaf almost dissipating as dust, going up into the air to whatever degree, whatever science behind gold dissolving. I think you're going to see in the corner of your eye just before not just before, a few seconds before the next spike is about to come, next to you, above you, something, that blonde-haired child that you missed the first time, being held by their mother. Just before, almost in slow motion, the mother reaching out to you to try and get you out of the way, almost as if time stops suddenly and there is no sense of humidity, there's no sense of wind, there's no weather in this moment. That child turns into the 2D paper doll character in this woman's arms. Just a giant sort of paper head, just like lolling itself sort of in one direction, and looks at you almost as if like their head was cocked in recognition. And then time moves back again, and the spike that was supposed to come from under you stops. And then the growths stop in general. After a few seconds, a few minutes, it doesn't seem like there's any other danger or immediate danger.
Yeah, I think just like that moment before time like goes back to normal, Bazaar like tried to reach out their arm because they have a monster gift upgrade to this ability that lets them actually interact with illusions as if they were real. So I think knowing this, they went to try and like touch this child, this 2D paper doll child, but were probably a bit too late. And so when the growth stopped, I think Zeke, you probably just see Bazaar's like hand out, like seemingly reaching for one of the spikes.
Don't do that, or you're gonna get impaled. Are you good? Are you okay?
What? Oh, yeah. No, I'm fine. Did you see that?
Barely, but not as much. What's going on?
There was this golden glittering. Did you not see it?
Zeke did not see it, correct?
No.
I did not. Wait, did you say gold?
Golden, yes.
Like the fake Goldie, right?
I'm sorry, fake. Oh, you must mean the false gold.
Oh, false gold, yes.
Yes. Although it didn't look quite as liquid as the false gold tends to be within the monsters.
Interesting. He's like, well, I don't see a monster around. Is there one that we should be looking for?
Do you not have a local monster in this area?
Well,
one
we've got a few.
protecting the town?
Well, we've got a few, but one we've never seen. Well, I've never seen. Some of the old folks say that they have, and I don't really believe them. But we do. One of my favorite monsters, actually, tends to travel and reside in this area sometimes. The Capernai.
Zeke. Again, this human sounding screech, bleeding that sounds familiar rather, to you. And someone, I think Cap even like just like taps on your head and like points up to another, not even mountainside, like maybe a mile away or something like that. The giant form of a goat creature, one that you know, one that you have seen, one that has made friends with maybe most of the people here in the Fjordlands. Its one eye and its sort of snout screech up into the air. The Capernai, the curious one, is a one-eyed goat with opposable ears and a love for friendship and travel. It has never spoken when you have engaged with it, but it has loved your company as if an old friend. This Capernai, this one, the final screech that it makes before running back off to a mountainside, it moans the word agony.
I look over at Basar and I say, there he is.
That's the monster that you were talking about.
Yeah. I go, I think I have an understanding of what we need to do. At least.
Then lead the way.
So you'll help me. Wonderful. Makes this a lot quicker. And I say, let me drop Cap off somewhere and then we'll go.
Okay, is there anything that you can tell me about this? You said Caprini?
Caprini. And then I hold up Cap and I say, named after the wonderful one, the curious one.
The monster
Caprini.
is named after your child.
Other way around.
Right.
Yeah. It's Caprini info. I'm me as CJ, and haha, there it is. Looking at it.
What are you looking for in particular?
I'm just gonna do general. I'm just trying to do some general information. This is all very interesting. Well, you'd know that they are large sheep, as our dearest DM is explaining. Curiosity for a monster. The Caprini lacks anything one might consider a power. So the Caprinis, they cannot shift the ground under their feet, call upon the magic reserves of hidden knowledge, speak into being new realities, or command the storms. He is said to know the true names of all things, but seeing as the Caprini speaks only in calming bleats and gruffs, the truth is difficult to know. Certainly the curious one happens upon good fortune and the company wherever he goes.
Basar, you also heard Zeke talk about Selma, who seems to be this great giver within this community. The amount of concerned whispering and muttering grows just from what certain parts, keywords that all of you hear was not a monster, the false gold, the tourists bringing something, the train being not good for the Fjordlands, the Caprini being angry about this, some conflict, just all sorts of predictions and estimations of what is going on, what is happening to the Caprini. So many people at this point have certainly gone out of the way, but now that everything has settled, the people that have resurfaced, especially your coworkers, Zeke, check out the train, they're lamenting the work that they will have to continue on doing. Cap remains to be sort of shocked about not knowing how to process what they've just seen. There's like a loud whistle from when someone does the finger is like kind of in the mouth whistle. A teenager that kind of holds something akin to a snowboard, like just under his arm. He has like strawberry blonde-ish, reddish sort of hair, freckles, and like a tanner sort of peach kind of skin. Looks around and gets everyone in the town to pay attention and sort of speaks with an authority. Anybody who can tell me what happened here?
I think Basar is just going to kind of look nervously over at Zeke. And sort of like, if Zeke is not looking, just kind of like elbow him a little.
Zeke stops looking into the sky. Oh.
Should we share the information that we got?
I guess so. I wave over and I say, I guess I can help you.
He kind of jogs over and kind of says, can you let me know what happened here?
We think it's a monster. Potentially the Caprini.
It seems the false gold may have infected your local monster. It's not uncommon. I've seen it in my travels many a times.
And the teenager just kind of like processes all that information. It's just like, the Caprini is useless. The Caprini can't do anything.
Well, a whole lot of stuff just happened, and
I mean, I can see. What did this just kind of happen?
Yeah, I think so. That's at least what we're trying to figure out.
Zeke, if I may, you mentioned earlier that there was a second monster around here. What if if this young person is saying that the Capernai is unable to do anything, I wonder if maybe the other monster is the one responsible instead.
So they're working together?
Okay, so I guess neither of you know what's going on. Okay, so what happened first?
Earth tremors.
The earth tremors. Okay, that's probably why some of the snow from the mountain cliffside kind of went all crazy. Okay, and then what else happened?
Earth spikes.
Earth spikes. Did anybody get hurt?
None that I know of. Bizarre.
No, they don't seem to be able to hurt anyone. They always move around people, I found.
Interesting. Okay.
They hurt the train.
Train's not a people.
It is to me. No.
All right. You said false gold?
I saw what I thought might have been flecks of it, but it seems that Zeke didn't see the same thing, so I can't be sure, but that is my hypothesis currently.
To clear up another thing, the Capernai isn't our local monster. Salma Uni is the only one that has any sort of local status here, but she is constantly busy. My grandma kind of unofficially watches over her. I'm gonna need the both of you, if you are the only two that knows what's going on, to follow me up the mountainside, and we're gonna have to talk to my grandma about this. He points to Basar and is like, "You're not from here, right?"
No, I'm a traveling monster care specialist. But if I may, do you not have any other monster care specialists in town?
And he points back to the cliffside that he was talking about. My grandma's right up there.
Of course.
And then he points to Zeke and is like, "But you work here regularly on the train.
I do.
You know about the Stonehearth family?"
Yeah.
The Stonehearth family, Zeke, I think you can even explain to Basar as this teenager with the snowboard is beginning to presumably walk back up the mountain that he just snowboarded all the way down. The Stonehearth family is a family that has maybe exclusively birthed monster care specialists, known children of a particular diagnostician veteran. The teenager himself, 17-year-old Halberd, or Hal for short, just kind of like talks very proudly about his grandmother and how she, in a sense, was a doctor, was that traveling, courageous hero, and someone that sacrificed a lot of their time for others, as well as the community that the monsters provided. And when all of her children go out for certain missions, or some of them may just need help caring for the children that need to be left behind for these missions, there are, including Halberd, at least 10 other children living with their grandmother up on this mountainside. As the both of you travel up this snowy mountain, cold, shivering, lot of steps, Halberd not batting an eye, all three of you see a gorgeous, modest, but wide sort of building, a little house. And facing all of you with kind of like a grandmotherly shawl and very warm dress, just like an old woman with a similar strawberry blonde, reddish sort of hair, freckles, very like deep set, like furrowed brow, and like a weathered sort of scowl. Maybe it's just resting bitch face, maybe. But Halberd sort of says, "That's Graham." Leia Stonehearth stands before the two of you. And she just like, she doesn't say anything yet. She just like, almost as if she's waiting for the both of you to say something to her.
Miss Graham, ma'am?
Basar Obsidian Eye, it's nice to meet you. And I think Basar does the same kind of like nod or bow that Lavender Rose did earlier, thinking back like maybe this is a custom around here specifically.
Leia looks at you like confused, Basar. We don't do that here. I appreciate it. The both of you. Did you eat yet?
No?
I guess it's not.
Neither of you are wearing the appropriate clothes to have climbed up this mountain.
Well, we're in a hurry.
I'm not used to the cold. And I think Basar just kind of like hunches over a little bit more and like pulls the coat in closer.
Come inside. Come inside. Before we talk about anything, we're going to get some food going. We're going to get the both of you appropriately dressed. And then this mean-looking old woman just aggressively tells you both that you need to put on a coat and have some soup. And Halvard and Leia both take you inside of this house, and just like the immediate warmth, the well insulation of this house and a fireplace, and so many children. You would think 10 children aren't a lot, but in one house, they are certainly a lot. Is Cap here with you, Zeke, as well?
I definitely would have attempted to drop him off. So I'd say no, because I don't think climbing a mountain would have been good for a child.
Right, yeah, definitely. After all of you get like poked and prodded by all the like children, but other than Halvard, and it seems the youngest of the grandchildren, who seems to be 2 years old and napping, Leia gets the both of you just like these, strangely enough, they like whatever she got for Zeke fits Zeke well, and then whatever she got for Basar fits Basar well. Wool, completely warm and well insulated clothes for mountain travel or wintertime in general. And she has the both of you hearty vegetable and some kind of meat stew and bread. And she seems to be around 60 or 70 years old and just like hunkers down on a chair. Feel free to eat as I speak. So, from what I understand, from what I've heard from Hal, the Capernai, although, as the both of you would know by, I'm sure now, the Capernai who cannot do many a thing that some dangerous monster, or rather a monster with great power, can do, appears to have come upon some power, appears to come upon some form of vocal communication other than its normal bleeding. What did it say?
Agony.
Is it possible it was infected by the false gold?
We think so.
I saw something that resembled the false gold, so I think it's very possible.
She looks at you, Basar. Just full, just like turns to you. What do you mean by that?
On the Zeke, was it the Earth spikes you were calling them?
Yes.
On the Earth spikes, as Zeke is calling them, I saw some gold flakes, some gold dust. It seemed like that resembled the false gold that I've seen on monsters before, but I was the only one that saw them.
What makes you the only one that can see?
Basar just kind of like gestures towards their one obsidian eye. I think this eye gives me abilities that other people do not have.
What can it do? What do you... Zeke, right?
Yes, Zeke Rumblewood.
Have you not noticed anything else as far as what this young frown kind of kid over here is talking about?
All I know is the spikes weren't hurting people, and that's all I got, actually. I seem to be somewhat peaceful in nature of a destructive path, if that makes sense.
What kind of path?
It seemed to have disrupted a little bit of the train flow, as well as just general lives of the folk down in town.
And you would know, I think something I also forgot to mention is that Halvard snowboarded seemingly down from the residential side of the mountain. So you are currently on the mountain where all the spikes were leading up. It was looking at the both of you, these spikes were coming up this mountain.
Yes.
It seemed that way.
And this Caprini developed some sort of sentience. Well, I'm sure it has sentience, but some sort of... This is very strange to me.
The false gold, it has the ability to do things like this. From what I've heard, from what I've seen, it changes monsters so that they're not themselves anymore. If this Caprini, Zeke, as you said, is a gentle, friendly monster, the false gold will turn it into something completely else. Something dangerous, something in pain.
Agony. All right. Well, Zeke, you are a resident here in the Fjordlands. Have you gotten the opportunity to see Selma quite yet?
Not once.
I'm unsure if you're aware of her nesting grounds and where they reside, where she keeps her eggs.
Is it in the mountains?
The reason I am not amongst the other townsfolk is because I am watching over her, as well as the cavern in which she keeps her eggs, her nesting ground. I am beginning to formulate some sort of theory, and I don't want to think of it this way, but no one wants to think of these monsters as doing this of their own volition. This Caprini affected by whatever you say that it might be affected by, young one, points to Basar. There might be whatever urge for the Caprini to make it to Selma's nesting ground, and although it doesn't hurt humans or people, it might want to hurt things not of people.
Monsters hurting monsters. I haven't seen it before.
And certainly not from the Caprini. And Leia kind of sits up and begins to just kind of like rummage and like is beginning to put like certain supplies and seemingly like backpacks and rations and things like onto the table as the both of you have finished up eating, or like now you're having tea at this moment. Well, do the both of you have time?
Or
Oh, you're going to find the Capernae.
In the nest?
We're going to make sure that we get it before it gets to the nest.
Oh, well, I was just passing through town, but I
No,
suppose...
I think the both of you are certainly capable at this point to be able. The both of you saw what happened, and the both of you say that you are monster care specialists. Yes.
technically, yes. A little bit on hiatus, raising kids, but
Speak with a full force. Speak with a full chest.
said yes. I am a monster care specialist who is also raising a kid. So, yes.
I'm raising 10.
I didn't realize it was a competition.
It doesn't have to be a competition, but when you mention with hesitation that a monster is not worth as much of your attention as your immediate family, there's a problem there as a monster care specialist for me. And I'm old. That may just be how I think, but, and she kind of is like, tries to like get off her high horse for a second and is saying, I cannot leave from this perch. I need to make sure that I have an eagle eye on whatever is going to happen to Selma if she comes back to this nest. And I have all these children, clearly, that I need to make sure will be safe if a mountain climbing goat monster is to do anything like what those spikes were attempting to do again. I need the two of you who are monster care specialists to carry this out for not only the Fjordlands, but consider the fact that the Capernae is a traveling monster that is potentially now infected. Are we on the same page, the both of you? And then is immediately back to the like mean kind of, not necessarily totally evil, but like is just very much like one track minding the both of you right now.
Yes, of course.
With a much more determination, he says, yeah, I guess we have a deal.
You guess?
We do.
Good. That's what I like to hear. And from her little pouch of salt, she will put salt into your little pack, Zeke. And you'll notice that she has rock salt and she like puts it into yours. And then although Basar, you don't have like a pouch quite yet, she just puts it gingerly into your hand with her little like liver spot, like soft grandmother hand. And you watch as she just like literally puts together like a supply pack for the both of you together, and just like pats the both of them onto the table.
I will bring attention to this, considering we are playing the game for other people to think. I'm assuming we are in the diagnostic stage of monster caring. And I guess since I've made a deal in exchange, the diagnosis move, make a deal when you promise to help someone in exchange for information about the monster. Hold one, and when you succeed, spend hold for one of the following options. So I guess I'm going to gain one supply.
And yeah, you literally do. Absolutely.
Heck yeah.
Nice.
Cool. I guess I grab my bag.
Ooh, also, if we are looking at moves from the diagnosis phase of Monster Care Squad. Would Basar's theory about it being the false gold count as a here's what I got move when you put forward a hypothesis about the monster's condition based on evidence you found, you roll plus acuity, and then something happens?
Certainly. Go for it.
All right, let's do it. I got a 9.
Yeah, let's go. We get to pick one.
So on a 9, on a 7 to 9, you pick one. You can mark a clock segment as successful. You can gain a session ace. You know where the monster is headed next. Or you can learn the names and effects of one wound. Given that we already know where the monster is headed, I think that one's not super useful. Let's gain a session ace because I like having something in our back pocket. That seems super fun.
Totally. So, pulling up session aces. When you are rewarded with an ace as a result of a move, that's a session ace. These are things like advice, special herbs, or preparation you took before your encounter with the monster. These also add a d4, but are completely removed from play when used. Anyone at the table can use these. So between the both of you, there is now a session ace d4.
Let's go.
Amazing. I love it.
So certainly with all the sort of preparation that this Leia Stonehearth grandmother was able to provide, as well as this understanding that this is the false gold. This is something that the Capernai potentially is doing, not because it wants to. Are there any other sort of questions or moves that the both of you would like to make at this moment?
I don't think I have anything.
I think the only thing that Basar would ask is whether or not Leia has seen something like this happen before around here, because supposedly Leia has been like the guardian or like watching over Selma specifically for a really long time, so she's probably familiar with the monsters around here.
Selma has been in the Fjordlands for as long as the creation of it. The Capernai certainly has visited us time and time again, offering celebration, friendship, whatever it wanted to. The other monsters that I have seen specifically infected from this false gold, not necessarily seen, experience the aftermath of, are either of you aware of the burning seas? I'm certainly, I'm sure most of you understand what it is, but the Zora, the feather-winged dragon that once danced drunk with the other members of its community, was the life giver there that provided the oasis within the burning seas, creating easily traveled paths and life-giving water and healing water. When infected by this false gold, thorns and bramble covered the paths with gold-tipped knives, sharp thorns, and the water became poisonous. It displaced a good amount of people into the burning seas, into the Fjordlands. That was not too long ago. The false gold, whatever origin it has, it certainly wants to make the worst out of our great creatures. And that cannot happen.
No, I think at the mention of the origin of the false gold, Basar kind of shifts a little uncomfortably in their seat and like trying to not make it like super obvious, just kind of is like, I think patting like one their like backpack or their pack, I assume, where they keep all of their supplies that they have on hand, where there is a set of scrolls that they have.
What's this?
I'm sorry?
Oh, you just patted this. You didn't take them out or anything?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? Anything from me? You look like a big, strong one, Zeke. You look like you know what to do generally. Points to Basar. The Capernai, if it is not hurting people, then that is only one thing that we can tick off as a concern. But it really could have damaged homes or something. It damaged the train, Zeke?
It did.
Well, I can see what I can do about any aid that you and your workers might need.
Wonderful. Means a lot.
I will ask the both of you to come back tomorrow. We'll debrief, and we will make sure that we strike not violently, but strike with a plan. Make sure that by whatever means, Selma's eggs are not touched.
A good plan is always important, I always say.
Everyone says that.
What do
I
you
didn't
say?
realize. Sorry.
All right. The both of you. I think Halvard will come up after this like truly strange encounter, and just kind of be like, so either of you want to skateboard, snowboard?
Oh, I'm not too fancy on my feet.
Snowboarding. You must forgive me, I've never actually encountered snow before. How exactly do you do that?
I can teach you, or I can let you try. So depending on what the either of you want to do, one might be more funny for me. So just if you want to try, it's kind of better than having to climb down the mountain again.
Zeke, what do you say?
I say, do you got more of a sled? I'd rather not fall on my face today.
We got a sled.
Wonderful. You spew board, I sled.
All right. I think Basar is gonna try the snowboarding. I imagine it might be perhaps not. It's not like starting from scratch. I imagine because of the fact, and here's my argument, is Basar is used to riding on steam rays, which I imagine maybe feels kind of similar to snowboarding, just on like lava rather than snow.
Yeah. I will say, for the fun of it, and the last silly thing that we do before wrapping up for this session, Basar, roll me a fine.
Oh my god.
And Zeke, you're on a sled.
Yeah, sled.
It won't be that insane of a roll or anything along those lines. If you have a 7 on a force roll, this will be fun.
I use strength.
I got
Get it.
a 7, like just barely succeeded.
Perfect. It's not the same as honestly, riding a steam ray is significantly harder than snowboarding, because if you fall, you die in magma. But if you fall in snow, you don't immediately die. But you make your way down the mountain and you don't break anything or whatever. And Halvard is just like cheering for the both of you as like you just in such a fast path made for just snowboarding, it seems, in general. You descend the mountain. And Zeke, what did you get?
9.
Perfect. Easy enough. You're on the sled. You are able to, if you need, redirect and like just scoot yourself in certain directions over certain bumps. And you certainly have a fun sort of idea for Cap, maybe the next time you are on this mountain. Basar, you currently don't have a place to stay, you realize.
Yeah, I think when Basar kind of gets down to the end of the mountain, like the foot of the mountain, they're like laughing for the first time in a while, I think. They're like laughing and like genuinely enjoying themselves. And as Zeke comes down as well, they kind of just look over at Zeke and they say, wow, I can't believe that I have never done this before. Honestly, I miss the steam rays after doing this.
Oh. Well, I guess all I can say is welcome to the Fjordlands again. This is what we do for fun every now and again.
You're not going to go into that trance again, are you?
No. I only do about only once a day.
Speaking of, you mentioned that you were a tour guide. Where do you direct people for somewhere to stay? It seems like I'm going to need a roof over my head.
Well, we've got a couple inns, and he kind of points in the direction down that way. But if you need somewhere to stay, I have extra space.
Oh, are you sure? I don't want to impose or anything.
Oh yeah, I have a couch, and you can sleep in my bed.
What if we did the other way around?
You sure? Well, Pa always says make sure your guests are very comfortable. So if that's what you're comfortable with, then sure.
Yeah, I think that would be better. Thank you so much.
Of course, he's like you hung out with Cap today, and that's honestly more than I could say. Most people really do. Some
The
people
child
aren't fun.
seems like a child.
It's smart as a whip. Love that kid. It's like, oh, it's like gotta go get him. And then Zeke just like, let's go.
And I think Basar will follow as well. Again, struggling to keep up with Zeke's speed, but trying.
Zeke will slow down ever so slightly.
Yeah. And with the day wrapping up after many intense, incredible, strange things, new information, the documents that are burning a hole in Basar's pack, certainly. Zeke's strange aura of someone being lost to whatever degree. And the lovely energy of Cap, the child, hugging Zeke, as well as offering Basar a hand to hold if they ever find Basar frowning for whatever reason. Tomorrow will be a busy day for the 2 monster care specialists within the Fjordlands at the moment. And that is the end of session 1.
Our session 1.